you may not want to turn that camera. This is a video in which I'm about to go straight into all the juicy stuff that Katt Williams spilled on the Shannon Sharpe podcast. Check it out. Hey, you guys, welcome to Jasmine's Way. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing to it. Also, make sure to like, comment, and hit that notification button so you'll be notified each and every time a new video is uploaded. So I hope that you all have checked out the interview that Katt Williams did on the Shannon Sharpe podcast. And you're going to see me referring to the side because I have my laptop open because I have a few notes that I took. You know, and this video was sent to me by my friend, Mr. Nick. Thank you so much for keeping me up on my game, okay? All right, but I'm about to get straight up in it. When I say that Katt Williams, like, was dropping bombshells, and I honestly believe him. Like, I believe he's telling the truth. I mean, you know, but we're going to get straight into it. We're going to talk, first of all, about the fact that Katt Williams, and I've heard other people say that the 2024 is the year of spilling the truth, and nothing but the truth. Like, people getting exposed out here. Real talk, Hollywood, and probably in your own real life, okay? You know, I was brought up and raised to say, hey, look, you're not supposed to lie, period. You're not supposed to lie, you know. Brought up, like, you know, liars never win. You know, you was reading the book Pinocchio and everything, teach you about that. If you went to church, you learned it in the Bible, you know, to tell the truth. But now people are exposing people in which, guess what, liars? You're going to be exposed. So we're going to get straight into it. I got to put my little glasses on so I can see. I need to clean them, but it is what it is. So first of all, he like went in on Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and Rickey Smiley. And I believe Rickey Smiley's going to be doing a reaction to this interview in a moment because I got to go check that out and then do another video about his response to what Katt Williams had to say about him. So make sure to turn them notifications on so you can get all my videos. So basically, I'm going to go first to Rickey Smiley. He said basically Rickey Smiley can't act. He said Rickey Smiley basically can't do nothing but roles where he has to dress like a woman, him and Tyler. And he was saying there's nothing wrong with that. It's just who's going to cast him as a male in a movie. He just doesn't, he's not an actor. He's not funny. I actually like Rickey Smiley, so I'm not gonna like, you know, like chew him out bad like that. But the one thing he said about Rickey Smiley was that Rickey Smiley lied when he had his interview on the Shannon Sharpe podcast. He said that Rickey Smiley lied and said that he was supposed to have the role. And if you hear a little squeakiness, this chair I'm in, my apologies. Money Mike and another Friday. One second, y'all. I'm like being slow this morning. Friday after next. I'm going crazy. Because I didn't say the movie was around everything. Friday after next. So he said that this man gonna sit up there and lie on Shannon Sharpe podcast talking about he was supposed to play the part of Money Mike. And he said that was just a flat foot out loud because he said he wrote that part. Like he was given the part. Because Rickey Smiley tried to say he was supposed to, that Katt Williams was supposed to be Santa Claus, even though, you know, Rickey Smiley ended up being Santa Claus. And Katt Williams was like, I ain't even look at the part of Santa Claus because they called me in for Money Mike. Money Mike. And Money Mike, you know, character, I wrote the lines for it. I created the character. I chose the clothes he was wearing. I even told them to go get real pimps. Don't be getting actors to be pimps. Go get the real pimps. Bring the real pimps up in here. We're going to do a real hardcore on this. You know what I'm saying? So he said just Rickey Smiley just flat foot out lied. And I'm like, dang. Like, really? Like, people, y'all ain't got to lie out here. Like, I don't know. Only God really knows if Rickey Smiley lied or if who's telling the truth. But whoever is lying, come on now. Like, stop. Liars never win. They never win. So, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, he went into Steve Harvey. And I'm not the biggest fan of Steve Harvey. I'm sorry, I'm not. I sometimes think he's a big hypocrite. But, you know, who am I to judge? I'm not here to judge. I'm not God, but I don't care for him. He went into saying that Steve Harvey looked like Potato Man. It was a little funny, though. Like, he also went into talking about how Steve Harvey, not Steve Harvey, but, yeah, Steve Harvey was jealous of Cedric the Entertainer. And I believe that. Bernie Mac, God rest his soul, was funny. He was funny. And, and he was the funniest in Kings of Comedy, and Steve Harvey didn't like that. They were trying to do a second Kings of Comedy. And I think Katt Williams said they was trying to get him, but he didn't want to do it because of how they kind of like played Cedric, because he didn't want Cedric to go before him. Because, Steve Harvey basically was his thing, so he would have to go last. And he didn't want Cedric going before him and then making him look like, oh. Because basically, Katt said they not funny. They don't write, they don't be writing their material. They lazy. You know what I'm saying? Katt Williams said he writes his own stuff. He said that Bernie Mac was funny, which he was. I had the honor of meeting Bernie Mac when I was a teenager. I was working at Doc's Fish, the restaurant, fast food restaurant. And Bernie Mac, is from Chicago. And he knew my manager. I had a substitute manager that night, but he knew my manager. So I'm like this teenage girl running out trying to take this order out to a customer that was waiting outside for their drive-through order because the drive-through line was backed up. And I see this tall, dark-skinned man with this long trench coat on, a top hat with two ladies walk in. I'm passing back like, excuse me. I get back in there. It's Bernie Mac in the back of the kitchen. And when I tell you that man was cool, I was like, Bernie Mac, oh my God, because that's when he was in the Kid and Play movies, at that time. And I was like, please, can you give me my, autograph? He wrote his autograph on the napkin for me and stuff. Real talk, this is a legit story. He was cracking jokes on us, talking about y'all know y'all be taking this food up in here, don't y'all? He was just like how he is on TV. Very down to earth, just sweet, and everything. So, yeah, Steve Harvey, yeah. I can see you being jealous of old Bernie. Yeah, because Bernie had a great personality. He was funny. And he was real. He was 100 real, okay? Rest in heaven, Bernie Mac. But, shame on you, Steve Harvey. Shame on you trying to block people's blessings. But you didn't block his blessings because he still was blessed. But, and then he went into talking about how Steve Harvey lied about being homeless. He said Steve Harvey never was homeless. He said, actually, I was homeless. I was homeless because Katt Williams said he left his home when he was at the age of 13. I'm going to get into his childhood in a moment. But let's talk then about Mr. Cedric the Entertainer, which, I like Cedric. But, he said Cedric basically stole his joke, his final joke. Katt Williams used to be on the BET Comic View. And that's an old show back in the day. So if you young watching this, you will have to go to YouTube and Google some old episodes because you're not going to be familiar with them. Like my generation. Okay, I used to watch it. It was funny. He was one of the stars on there. And he said his one of his closing jokes that he would do, Cedric the Entertainer ended up seeing it one night when he came to see the show. And Cedric was actually on that show too. Probably later, I believe. I'm not sure. Maybe he was on it before Katt. I don't know. Maybe tell me in the comment sections if you know who was on it first. But I believe Cedric the Entertainer was on that show at a point too. But Cedric stole that man's joke and used it as his final joke in Kings of Comedy. I'm like, these people just dirty. Like, really? Like, you not creative enough to write your own material? Guess not, because Katt Williams said, hey, look, Cedric ain't funny either. And he said, and they not for movies. Like, I know Cedric done been in a few movies, but he like, don't nobody want to put Steve Harvey in a movie. He called Steve Harvey country. He said Steve Harvey got a big head. He said, man, he was going in on Steve Harvey. Like, real talk, going in. So that's the biggest stuff he was kind of saying about the comedians. And, he was asked about his development as a comedian. And he said basically, it wasn't something that just he was doing because he came from a very religious family. His parents were Jehovah's Witnesses. This man, Katt Williams, I didn't even know that this man was so smart. This man is very intellectually smart, like real talk, because Shannon Sharpe, to me, I felt like had to kind of speed it up and kind of be more sharper with his questions, because Katt was kind of so fast paced. Like, come on now, man, you asked me that question. It makes sense that doesn't make sense to ask me in so many words. So Shannon had to kind of step his game up on a question scale because Katt Williams was sharp. Like, I mean, the man is super smart, and I honestly didn't know too much about Katt Williams other than the jokes I've seen him do or the movies I've seen him in. but I didn't know him on a, like, this kind of level. And he's really smart. He's been smart. He said he read over 3,000 books as a child. You know, he left home at the age of 13 because him and his dad had a blow, you know. And he moved. I think he said he moved to Florida and he stayed in shelters. You know, I don't know if you all remember, but people were really trying to say that Katt Williams was on drugs. And I've heard that. I remember hearing that. He said he's never taken drugs. He said that when he was homeless as a teen in Florida, living in those shelters, he talked to everybody up in there. And he said they were doctors, teachers, lawyers, all these, you know, had these professions. And he said they had one thing in common as to why they were in that shelter. They lost it all due to drugs. And he talked about the drugs, crack, heroin, cocaine, all of that stuff. You know, he admitted he smokes marijuana. He admitted that, and he, occasionally drink. But he said he never has done drugs, And he said that hearing all of their stories, he said he would never do drugs in that capacity, Pretty smart man. I don't know if you all know that Katt Williams adopted 7 children. And he also said he's never been married. So he's a single dad. He said he liked being around ladies more, having more ladies working for him just because he prefer women over men as far as to work with. But he said a lot in that interview. I may do a part 2 to this video because I don't want this video to be too long. But he said a lot. I mean, and just, he said he was homeless. He said the Friday After Next movie was the movie in which he was homeless. Him and his son, he had a son. He became an only father before he adopted his other children. And he said they had to stay in the trailer, on the set. You know what I mean? He also talked about the fact that people was trying to talk about Ice Cube didn't pay them no money. And he said, how y'all talking about, didn't pay them no money worth nothing. He said, how y'all gonna talk about this black man who was doing an independent film and paying y'all out his pocket, what y'all, really expected, And this man is very generous. He's given a lot to individuals, would send money by women to comedians that were doing acts that he knew weren't possibly getting paid anything. I mean, check that interview out. Like I said, I may come back and do a part 2, especially after I hear Rickey Smiley, what he got to say. 'Cause I like Rickey Smiley, but I hope Rickey Smiley really wasn't lying. If he was, shame on you too. Shame on you. Shame on you. And shame on you. The 3 of y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. But anyway, make sure to subscribe to Jasmine Swag Pies.